Welcome to Player Way, your weekly video game podcast covering gaming news, reviews, and more. I'm your host, Johnny Murray here, and we have an exciting show planned for you today, right in the heat, right in the middle, or no, actually right in the end of October, one of the busiest months every year for gaming. And I'm here joined with our guest this week, Austin. What's going on?
What's up, guys? How you doing? I'm back once again, ready to talk as always. Just have fun, really. Just kind of like talk about how October has just been like amazing. I don't feel like we've had any misses yet, and I really expect us to not have any, to be honest. So,
yeah. So like couple days ago, Austin asked if he could be on the podcast, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And he said he is ready to, in all caps, talk. So I don't know what that means. I have no insight. So who knows? He might come on here and just drop like a pipe bomb and just like walk off or something. I really don't know what's gonna go on. But anyway, welcome to Player Way. If you guys love video games, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoy this. We cover video games daily on this channel, and we're going through a lot of changes and a lot of revamps and a lot of exciting things here on the channel. And so we are going to do a little bit of housekeeping before we get into some of the topics. But consider subscribing, sharing with your friends. We appreciate all the support you guys give us, especially the one on this video right here, or this podcast more specifically. It doesn't matter what you love. Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation, third-party, indie, PC, VR, whatever it may be. We're here to talk about video games, share the thing we love, and let's do that in the best way possible by talking about it. So before we get started, like I said, I'm going to do some housekeeping. If you guys have been keeping up, by the way, if you guys are not following my Instagram or my Twitter, make sure you go do that. I always stay up to date on everything on there. Well, I try to at least. But it's just a good way to stay up to date with me, more specifically. And then in terms of like YouTube, I've been making posts and stuff. Big announcement for the week is that I will be returning to streaming, or I will start to consistently stream on a weekly, maybe like 3 to 4 times a week basis. And to kick all of that off, we are doing a welcome week, which is basically from November 4th to the 8th, which is the Monday, and to the Friday of the first week of November. We're going to be streaming every single day that week. We're going to be doing so many awesome things. We're going to be grinding some Call of Duty Black Ops 6. We're going to be playing Planet Coaster 2. You guys know how much I've been excited for that game. We're going to be taking a look at the PS5 Pro for the first time, hands-on with that. We're going to be playing Alan Wake 2 for that. We are also going to be playing Mario and Luigi Brothership. That also comes out that week. We're going to be doing some music cook-ups on FL Studio. We're going to be reacting at midnight to a bunch of albums and just music that Thursday night as well. It's going to be an awesome week. We're going to do literally everything that week to kick it all off and hopefully get a lot of hours in and just really have some fun. Hopefully you guys will show up. But also some of the things on the channel are just getting a little bit of a revamp. It's not a rebrand. It's not a refresh. It's just I'm updating the look of some stuff. As you guys already see on this podcast, there's an updated look. You guys saw the transition and the starting soon screen. There was music as well. If you guys didn't see it, there you go. And yeah, there's just a lot of things happening. I have more announcements on the way. I've been working nonstop this week on just a bunch of graphic design, visual stuff, and just marketing and stuff like that. And I just can't wait to share more with you guys in the future. But for now, that's really all the housekeeping I have. But yeah, let's get talking about video games. Do you want to do that, Austin?
no.
Okay. So thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, definitely
not.
leave a like, leave a comment section up provided, and we'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning in for the housekeeping. Later, guys.
That was it. That's his own video. That's
Yep.
why I'm here to listen to this guy talk about what he's been up to.
Yep. But no, let's get started with tradition. Let's talk about what we've been playing. And honestly, I don't even know when was the last hang on. I'm going to take a look at this because this will be interesting. The last podcast was September 29th, so pretty much anything in October.
Hmm.
And Zelda. I don't think we talked about Zelda at the time
Yeah.
in the last one. So anything in October and Zelda is on the table to talk about, or really just anything you've played, I guess. Really, like it doesn't have to be released, but yeah. So what have you been playing, sir?
All right. So I've been using this weekend a lot to just catch up on stuff right now. So I don't think October was really too busy for the most part, like at the beginning for me. So I don't think I really played much. There's a lot of stuff that I do want to catch up on, but it's just kind of difficult because October is so stacked and there are so many games that have come out that I've wanted to play. So we started off. I'd say the one that I was playing a lot for the time was Mario Party. I was playing Mario Party for a while. I really like it. Uh, it's really fun. It's just casual, fun Mario Party. Um, I really enjoy it. I like Superstars is it has a special place in my heart. It's like one of my favorites. I haven't played all of the maps though and everything. Like I haven't done everything for the new Mario Party, but I still need to play it. But I've been playing that. I just finished Sonic X Shadow Generations yesterday. Um, I just will keep it as simple. I posted a tweet, and that tweet like meant a lot to me. And I might have cried playing the game. Uh, so that was an experience. I got through the first chapter of Neva last night. I plan on playing more either today or tomorrow. I'm not 100% certain. Uh, and then I've been playing. Why are you shaking your head?
I was just thinking about Neva. I wasn't. I wasn't. I
Oh,
was shaking my head. Like I had man, that game's so good
yeah.
moment. Like yeah.
Yeah, I saw your video. I was really shocked at I guess the score. Like I don't know. I wasn't expecting it, you know. But um and then today I've been playing Zelda. I played it a little like I'd say like last week I put time into it and I just wanted to finish it cuz I really do enjoy it. Um I don't really have as many issues as I thought with it. It's not the worst. It's just I literally have gotten to the point where the only time I'm worried about the game is when there's grass. If I see grass, I'm out. Like I'm terrified. I mean, that you know there are enemies, there are bosses, there are creatures in that game that might scare you as a kid. The one thing that scares me the most is this game. It's grass, bro. Because when you see that grass, oh dear God, you better watch out because those frames might be dipping. But no, it's super fun. I really enjoy it. I'm hoping I can finish it tonight. I probably won't, because it is pretty beefy. But I'm almost, I'd say, halfway. I think the third there's like 5 or 6 dungeons in total. I can't fully remember, but I'm like halfway in the third one. So once I get that, I may be halfway done. I'm not 100% certain though. But uh and I think that's mostly it. I haven't in terms of October, I still haven't played Silent Hill 2 cuz I'm waiting on John cuz I'm going to borrow his copy, but I haven't been rushing for it anyway. It's just because I've just there's so much to pick and choose to play. Um and then like Black Ops 6 just came out. I haven't touched it. I don't know if I'm gonna touch like actually play it this weekend. I'm not 100% certain. It may be something I play like on Monday or so because I don't really see it as like a game right now that I want to spend my long weekends playing. I'd rather like have like kind of like 5 hour sessions on like like the weekdays really. Um, and then I have some other plans for other stuff. I've been planning out my December like for my I call it basically right now long series December, which is basically I'm just gonna be playing like any games that are over like 40, 50 hours in December. So I've already planned out like Rebirth, finishing that, probably getting ReFantazio, probably going to end up playing Wukong, and just whatever else I can really think of. So
Cool. Awesome. Um, yeah, so the first thing, in terms of Silent Hill 2, I am like literally on the like last like section of the game. I think the last section is like one or two chapters, but like I'm on the home stretch. I'm on the home stretch, and my goodness, I'm taking my sweet time with this game. Like, and I kind of see it as like I'm on purpose taking my sweet time, like, but at the same time, I don't know. It's weird because like I don't know. This game's weird for me, like in terms of like how fast I'm trying to complete it. Because like I could easily just get this game done, but for some reason I'm just not. And it has nothing to do with the fact that like I'm not enjoying it or anything. I'm loving it. I think it's awesome. It's phenomenal. But I don't know. It's just for some reason I'm just taking the game like a couple chapters at a time. But I am finally on the home stretch. I think it's because there's so many games coming out. I think that's why, because I'm just like jumping around to multiple games like at a time.
yeah,
But no, so I've been playing Silent Hill 2. I'll definitely talk about that a little more here in a minute. And then I played about an hour or two of Zelda. And I kind of stopped because I was experiencing frame issues as well. In my case, I found them a little more disturbing than I think Austin has. And it's just one of those things where there's so many games coming out. There's something a little bit disturbing at it. I just think it's the wrong time for me to play it. As simple as that. Like if I was to play it, it would be me forcing myself to play it, and it's a game that I know I'll like because it's just like my favorite Zelda. So I'd rather just play it when the time is right. I also think an issue is it came out a week after Plucky Squire, which is a very similar game, and I was kind of already done with that kind of genre. Like, not done with it, but like I just went through a whole game with that genre, so I wasn't sure if I wanted to jump straight to this pretty much a very similar thing. But no, it just wasn't the right time, but I will get to it eventually. From the 2 hours I played, though, I really enjoy it. I think it's really good so far. Let's see, what else did I play? I played Undisputed, which is a boxing game. It's okay. It's fine. It's fun. If you like boxing. Other than that, it is what it is. I plan on trading it in, if that helps you come to any conclusion. I will say the game is doing really successful. It is really successful. It's sold it's sold way over 1 million copies, which I did not expect that to.
really.
It's not even like a major publisher. Like I think it's like a self-funded thing or something. I don't know. It's really interesting, but it's selling hotcakes. I even went to GameStop recently, and he's like, I've had a bunch of people come in for the boxing game, and I'm like, really? Like I was like,
Yeah.
really? That's so interesting. But people love the Fight Night games, and we haven't got one since the 360s or since the 360 area. So it was I don't know. It's a little surprising to me that it's doing so well, but I'm happy for it for sure.
I mean, I definitely do think it is surprising, but at the same time, how many games now in October have instantly just been like, yeah, so within 3 days we sold 1 million copies.
Yeah. Yeah, literally.
It's kind of, I mean, for that size of a game and what it is, I mean, I didn't expect it either, but
Yeah.
I didn't even know anything about that.
Yeah.
So.
Although I will say to your point, whenever we always start questioning like, why do these companies keep on releasing their games? Like, it's because October, November, and September are like the video game buying months. Like that's just when consumers buy so many games. So
Yeah.
But let's see, what else did I play? what came out? I mean, I've played Neva. I'm just gonna wait for that. I'm gonna save that for a little bit later.
Yeah. We also did a review on your
I
channel.
did a
of
review
it,
on my
so.
channel. I did play a little bit of Sonic X Shadow. I played just the Shadow part. I went straight there. I didn't even touch the Sonic part. Have you touched the Sonic part or just Shadow?
No, because I've already played it like
Oh, okay.
80,000 times.
I just wasn't sure if you were redoing it or not.
No, like
But
maybe at some point, but it's not like much has changed. Like I've played it so many times, so it's like I'm not really in the like I don't have the urge to want to play it again. Like I'll always find a time where if I'm bored, I'll do it, but I just played the shadow part.
yeah. But yeah, so I played like 1 or 2 levels of that. I'll be honest, I've just come to the conclusion, unless it's like Frontiers, I just don't like the formula of Sonic games. It has nothing to do against the game either. I just for something, it's cool. I see why people really like it. I don't know. I just have a really hard time getting into it.
Oh, let's go back all those videos ago. Oh, dude, this new one looks so good. I've never been more hyped for a
does.
Sonic game.
It does.
Plays it, and look at what we have here.
Yeah. Hey, I was wrong. But, I mean, well, actually, no. I take it back. It is still, in my opinion, the coolest looking. Like, some of these scenes and cutscenes that are happening with Shadow are some of the coolest things I've seen, like, out of a Sonic game.
I think it
easily. Like,
I mean, I'm just gonna simply put it like very quickly because I may go into it later or so, but I think it's definitively like either the best 3D Sonic game or the second.
yeah.
Generations was already considered to
One of the
be
best, yeah.
within the top twos, and just adding the shadow part, I think just solidifies it even more because I think it is better than the Sonic section. So. But Unleashed is still my favorite, and I still think it's like number one. But, well, that sucks to hear, but I guess it is what it is.
Yeah, I think for me, it's it just comes down to like the gameplay, like, and there's a reason Unleashed is also my favorite, is because yes, there are the Sonic levels. But then there's the Werehog levels, which is in some ways just like a platformer, right? Like I mean, I get Sonic is always a platformer, but like I'm talking like almost hack and slashy, even though it's not hack and slash. Like it has your typical action adventure kind of control style. Whereas this is just straight like you're moving left and right. It's a lot of timing. It's a lot of just auto-aiming to every enemy and just bouncing off their heads, grinding rails, jumping over obstacles. And I don't know. I have nothing against it. Like, it's perfectly fine. It's really cool for a lot of people. I just personally can't get into it. Like, it's just really hard for me to sit for more than an hour and do that. But I will say it is really awesome looking. And a lot of things that is like... And Shadow's just so cool. Shadow is so cool, man. But yeah, so there's that. I've been playing a lot of Madden. And then I have recently started playing a lot of Call of Duty. I already have like well over, I would say like 12 hours in the game already. It is awesome. It's literally just so awesome. To me it feels like to me it's easily the best Call of Duty we've had since I don't even know, a long time. Like I thought Black Ops Cold War was solid. I thought
I was gonna give a hot take and say since 3, because that's in my opinion the last good COD.
I would know 4 is fine. It's just not as good as 3.
Really?
I would say
I
Okay,
didn't.
hot
I'll
take.
be honest.
The
Yeah.
reason 4 is looked back on in a bad way is because that was their first attempt at a bad battle royale, and it was not good. It was called Blackout, and it was not good. But the multiplayer zombies and campaign was still fine.
See, you know what's really funny? I remember playing 3, and then I had no idea Black Ops 4 existed. I had no idea it ever existed.
Yeah.
Like, ever.
Yeah. Actually, I take it back. There wasn't even a campaign for 4. Now I think about it. Yeah. But I would say it's the best one since. I would say it's the best one since 4, maybe. I might even like it more in 4. You might be right on 3, but personally, I wasn't even the biggest fan of 3, so I really don't know. All I know is it's amazing. Like it is so awesome. The multiplayer slaps. The zombies slaps. The campaign. I played the first 2 missions last night. I cannot wait to play more. It is awesome. Like everything about it is great. There is just classic leveling up, grinding XP, prestiging, unlocking new guns, unlocking attachments. It's all normal. You don't have to complete stupid challenges. You don't have to play certain game modes. Load into team deathmatch, grind it out. Boom, you're leveling up. You're unlocking stuff. You have typical create a class again, where you only have so many slots that you're able to fill. You have lethal, tactical, some perks, all that stuff. Primary, secondary. You have zombies, Gobblegum's back. You have 2 very, very amazing maps. I think both of these maps are easily the best maps since, I would say, Black Ops 2. And that's like a statement, because there's been a lot of zombies since then. But these maps are just really awesome. And the campaign is... The production value on this campaign is off the charts. Like, it literally is like watching a movie. Like, it's just absolutely insane. But no, Black Ops 6 is hitting every note possibly right, and I just can't wait to play more of it. It's definitely a game I'm going to be grinding for a lot of months to come. To me, I'm not going to say Call of Duty's back or whatnot, or like, yo, like, we're having a resurgence in Call of Duty, because number one, it's stayed popular. Like, it's probably more popular than it's ever been. It's just a lot of older fans of the series have fallen off. A lot of newer ones have come in. But if the next Call of Duty can replicate this one's success, then maybe I'll be like, okay, I can actually, like, say I'm a fan of Call of Duty again, in a way. Whereas right now, I would just say I really enjoy Black Ops 6. I wouldn't consider myself a Call of Duty fan currently. But I do really like. Right, but I really like Black Ops 6. Now, if the next one is something other than Black Ops and it replicates its success, then I'm like, okay, I can actually get behind Call of Duty every year. And so we'll just kind of have to wait and see on that. I'm really curious how the post-launch content for Black Ops 6 will be as well. They already said they're adding new zombie maps, they're adding new multiplayer maps, and they're going to be adding more weapons and stuff, which that's also good. Like, literally everything they're saying, everything they're doing is just right. Like it's literally just right. As long as there's no buggy messes, which I will say I have run into a couple bugs, and as long as it's not stupid progression or just really limited matchmaking or something, then we're fine. It's just, unfortunately, that's kind of what COD has been for the last few years. It's just been a really lot of weird decisions. In terms of gameplay, in terms of, like, visual fidelity, Call of Duty is never missed. It's still the same gameplay every time. It's still the same, oh my gosh, it's one of the best looking games of all time. It's the decisions that go into its content, into its progression, into what makes the game special that year, that has been failing for years, whereas this time they've got it right. They have added things to this year's gameplay. Omni movement, I will say, I thought it was always cool that they were adding Omni movement. I didn't think it was, like, gonna be, like, game-changing or, like, really awesome. No, it's actually sweet. Like, I've actually used it, like, quite a bit in multiplayer. Like, there's a lot of times where I'm sliding backwards now, and it really is a sweet feature that they added. And yeah, it just really is hitting all the right notes, and I'm just super duper excited to keep playing Black Ops 6. Silent Hill 2. This game, this is a weird one. It's a really weird one, because, and it's weird, and I don't mean to, you know what? See, it's really hard not to. I don't mean to compare it to all the other survival horror games, because I don't think it should be number one, but unfortunately it kind of almost has to be. Or more specifically, I think Resident Evil, because these two franchises and these two games came out like right around the same time. Like, these were Silent Hill and Resident Evil are like the two like renaissance survival horror games. But Silent Hill 2, out of every survival horror game I've played, has a lot. I think I would even argue the most highs out of any of them. And I think a lot of that stems from it actually being a horror game, because it is terrifying. Like, it is so well done, where it is stress inducing, it is tension building, it is mysterious, it is every time you open a door you are questioning about it. Whereas in Resident Evil, you're like, I'm about to bust down this door and beat up every zombie. It's like, do I want to open this door? like it's that. And so I think in terms of like Silent Hill 2, there are things about it that I easily like more than any other survival horror games that I've played. But I think it is the most inconsistent survival horror game that I've played, because I think a lot of it comes down to pacing and the repetitiveness of like how levels play out. It really is like, hey, we're gonna go to a big building, have this insane maze, have this puzzle that you're basically going through the whole maze trying to complete, and then once you do that, we're gonna have a really cool scene. We're gonna have a really cool like 20 minutes walking through the city until you get to the next building, and you're gonna redo it all again. It kind of is that. And granted, it's really good, like going to that building and solving those puzzles is really good, but I don't. It definitely leaves a little bit of inconsistency or pacing issues, to where I'm like, oh man, I really just want to get to that next story chunk. I really just want to get to that next story scene, because the story also is really, really good. I enjoyed a lot of the characters in this game. I think James, the main character, is a super likable character. So yeah, I'll say that. Silent Hill 2, very good. I haven't finished it yet. I'm not going to put a score on it. You guys will just see in my review. I honestly have no idea where I'm at, like, on a score. But yeah, it is very good. It is a very good game nonetheless. And what I will say before we move on is, this is a game that a lot of people, including me and Austin, had doubts for leading up to it, and I'm very happy to say that it has proven literally everyone wrong. Like, ever since the game has come out, I have not seen like really any hate towards this game, and I guess that goes to show you two things. Number one, you shouldn't automatically jump to conclusions or automatically create an opinion before a game comes out, and number two, that's, what was I gonna say? Number two, oh yes. Number two, a good game is a good game. That is how it works. Like, it blows my mind that people are just now figuring this out. Oh my gosh, they released a game that's actually good. People like it. How crazy is that? Wow, that's a big plot twist there. No, Bloober Team delivered. They made a high quality game that people are really enjoying, and people are taking note. People are gaining attention, and it's showing. It is very successful. It has sold 1 million copies in its first week, It is already looking like a bright future for the franchise. Bloober Team already is looking like they're having a bright future. It's a success story, and unfortunately there was just a lot of doubters beforehand. Now, I'm not going to say the people who were doubting were out of line, because, I mean, a lot of the trailers did have concerning things in it, and a lot of the reports and just news had concerning things in it, but I definitely think some people, and I would even say me and Austin are probably also guilty of this, we kind of just jumped to a conclusion that it was just like there was really no positives that were going to come out from this game, or like it was the point where we just thought it was gonna be bad. Like we have plenty of videos on the channel where we have said where we kept on crapping on Silent Hill 2, and here we are, and it's a phenomenal game. So, you know, but yeah, I mean, it is what you live and learn. You know, you live and learn.
Yeah.
Real quick, but before I jump into Neva, do you have anything to add about all the games that I talked about?
No, because I haven't played them.
Cool. All right. So Neva. So, if you guys don't know, Neva is what's the studio name? Nomada. Nomada.
Yeah, it's something
Nomada.
like that, yeah.
Nomada. Nomada Studios. They're the same studios that brought us Gris, another beloved indie game, a few years back, and it's published by Devolver Digital. Those people are just insane. They're literally the GOAT of indie publishers. And this is a very artistic game. This is a very story-driven game. It's a very visual-driven game, musically driven game. Yeah, it's just a very artistically driven game. This is not a game where you're going to get insane gameplay mechanics like God of War or Call of Duty. This isn't a game where you're going to get like insane boss battles. This isn't a game where, you know, you're going to be getting plot twists like Mission Impossible 24/7. You know, this is a game that is showing us the creativity of developers. It's showing us the passion of developers, and it's giving us messages, and it's giving us themes, and it's giving us reasons to care about a video game. And I think that's what a lot of games kind of miss the mark on, is let's have a story. Let's make a game where everyone's going to be like, this is epic. This is thrilling. Like, yes, I just want to play more. Get to max level. It's like, what if we just made a game where people were like, I just want to experience this feeling? And I feel like Neva is exactly that, because, and it's really interesting, because I would say the first half of the game is phenomenal. The second half of the game, I think, is one of the best games I've ever played. Period. The way everything meshes together, the music, the visuals, the gameplay, the puzzles, the platforming, they utilize the visuals in a and Austin, you'll know exactly what I mean when you get there. There is like, I don't really want to spoil it, but to get what I'm saying across, I kind of have to, like, I'm not going to spoil it exactly. I'm going to kind of say how something operates. They use the art style selected to have different environmental effects to basically show you how to platform and how to do puzzles in a way that I haven't really seen any other game do it. And it uses its combat, which is it's very fundamental. It's very simple. It's a very classic combat system. But it uses it in such a way that it makes you feel like you're really fighting to move on. Like it's not like one of those things like, oh yeah, let me see what epic combos I could do. It's, all right, how do I defeat this enemy? and you only get 3 hits. If you get hit 3 times, you're dead. And so it's just a very focused game. It knows exactly what it wants. It knows exactly what it wants to be. The 3rd chapter specifically is easily one of the best chapters I've ever played in a video game. Just across the board, everything: music, visuals, gameplay, creativeness, uniqueness. It's perfect. It is. It really is. And when you reach that ending, it has oh my gosh, just thinking about it almost made me start tearing up. It has, I think, undoubtedly one of the greatest full circle moments in all of video games. Like, and it's sad. I'm not even gonna hold you guys. I'm pretty sure everyone knows going into this game it's gonna be sad. It's gonna be a tear jerker. The opening was already so sad enough. The ending, it is one of the most saddening things, but it makes you feel so happy afterwards, and it makes you feel so satisfied because of the perfection of execution that they did delivering this game's message and its theme. It is a masterclass in using visuals, using characters, using gameplay, using music to tell a story. And it just does it in such a way that you can't help but cry and feel so good at the end. And I just absolutely loved it. You know, like, it's a game that is going to sit with you for a long, long time. It's going to be a game that when a conversation comes up with what's a good 2D platformer, maybe some puzzles, you're going to think Neva. And it's crazy because it's a really short game. It's only like 3.5 hours. I think that was my end playtime, 3.5 hours. But they do not let that waste whatsoever. It really is a masterpiece, and that's the score I gave it. I gave it a 10 out of 10 on my score, which I think, looking back at the year, I think that's only the second 10 out of 10 I've given this year. And I think it absolutely earns it. I would say it earns it more than the other 10 out of 10 I gave it. Because here's what I'll also say. Is this my favorite game of the year? No. Like, is it a game I'll want to replay? No. And it's just because of the type of game it is. It's not the game where I want to master its combat. It's not the game I want to, see all the different characters. It's a game that I just wanted to experience, and I have that experience in my mind, in my heart, and I just want it to stay there forever. I do think, and I made this weird analogy in my review. In boxing, there's like the term pound for pound best fighter, meaning no matter if you're in the heavyweight division, no matter if you're in the lightweight division, the middleweight division, no matter what kind of fighting style you use, you are the best fighter in boxing right now. I think for 2024, when I look at every game that I've played so far, I think, like, frame for frame, no matter the genre we're talking about, no matter the length in game, no matter the developer who made the game, I think from an aspect standpoint, when I'm thinking visuals, music, story, gameplay, I don't know if any game has been this perfect this year outside of this game, because I genuinely have no complaints. Genuinely have no complaints in this game. And it's just a masterclass in all the aspects. That being said, is it my favorite game of the year? No. So when I say it's the best game of 2024 that I've played so far, I've already announced that I'm going to be doing my own game awards at the end of the year. Don't automatically assume that, oh, well, now we know what's winning game of the year. My game of the year category is going to be combined with quality. It's going to be combined with bias. It's going to be combined with a whole slew of things. So it's not just, oh, well, let's just look at what his favorite game of the year is. Yep, that's what's going to win. Or let's look at what he thinks the best game of the year is. That's what's going to win. No, it's gonna be a grand overview of every game of the year. So I really don't know what's gonna win yet. I'm still like every week I'm adding new criterias and new notes of like how to try and judge this. And so we'll kind of see. But I think for me, when I look at artistically and quality wise, for me, I just can't even come to convince myself to give it anything other than a 10 out of 10 because I genuinely just do think it's perfect. And that's the power of indie games for you. That's the power of video games for you. Not even just indie games. That's the power of video games. But I think this game is especially special because it is an indie game. And I mean, I expect nothing less from a studio that also made another indie game that's considered like one of the best. So, yeah. But yeah, I absolutely loved Neva. It's definitely a masterpiece for sure for me. But I know you said you played you got through the first chapter, or you're playing the first chapter.
No. I beat the first boss.
Okay, cool. By the way, when you beat a boss in the game, the music goes so unnecessarily hard, but I absolutely love it. Like, it is amazing. Yeah. Holy moly.
100%. I mean, I think it's like soundtrack of the year, or
OST
of the year.
Yeah.
It's super, super, super good.
Yeah, I said it in my review. Like, if you were to like judge OSTs, what would like the description for like a great OST be? And it's an OST that heightens the game, heightens moment to moments. It heightens the story. It heightens other aspects about a game. Is it a music that you can enjoy listening to while making the overall experience better? I think this game is the definition of what makes a great OST. Like every second you're playing the game, the music is interesting and engaging, and it's heightening every moment of this game. Like it is so awesome. It's so great. Yeah, I 100% agree with you, Austin. All right. So, do you have anything else to add about games that have come out? Or do you want to talk about Neva a little bit? Or
I think it's really good right now. I'm at like an 8 or so. It's fun. It's not like the most fun indie game I've ever played, but I'm also like literally only on the second chapter, and there's still like 4 more.
There's only four chapters in the whole game.
3. Okay, I didn't know if there was 4 or 5. So I only have.
And actually, the last chapter is like not even really a chapter. It's just the ending.
Oh.
So, yeah.
I see. So I have about 3 chapters. It's really fun. It's just not as fun as some other indies I've played, but like, I'm still like barely, like I'm literally 25% done. I still have like 75 left, so I still have like more stuff I need to play. I guess like I'll go ahead and get out the way with Sonic because I might as well to explain my thing of how I tweeted I cried. So I'm really satisfied with the game. Like, I'm very happy. It is 100%. This version is my second favorite Sonic game of all time. It's still not my number 1, but I think the reason I cried from it is because not only do I really I loved the game. I really did. But I feel like for the first time in so long, I can sit down and confidently have faith in one of my top 3 favorite franchises of all time. And I know, like, some people will be like, oh, well, we've had Mania, Frontier sold well. And like, the movie, like, I understand that. But I feel like recently, I can't, not be excited for anything Sonic related. I mean, I think the new movie, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, I think it's going to be phenomenal. I thought X Generations was phenomenal. I mean, this is what I've wanted from Sonic for so long. is, they've taken this more serious route. They've stopped being as kid friendly. They've tried going back to the roots. And I've always said that's what they needed to do. And I think it's great seeing all these content creators that usually don't like Sonic the Hedgehog are now saying they like it. Moist Critical, a prime example. He only likes Adventure 1, 2, and he was okay on Frontiers, which he said he thought it had great ideas, but wasn't executed the best. I agree with his opinion. I think it's just an okay game. I think it's fine. I don't think it's good, nor is it bad. I just think it's fine. It gets the job done. And it's good, but this is the first game in a hot minute that I can confidently say there is a reason to be excited and to actually have faith for the franchise of Sonic. And I still stand by it. I know Frontiers 2 is probably going to be happening. I really wish it wasn't. I would take anything over Frontiers 2 if we stick to this style that we have, because this is the style that I think everybody wants. This is what every fan really wants from this franchise. And I mean, I'm hoping Frontiers 2 is good. There's no doubt in my mind they're not going to do it, but I think there needs to be a lot of changes if they're going to make it. I think even a whole art style change is in order, because I just think the game, like budget wise, I think there is a huge difference in the budget. And just by looking at Frontiers and Sonic X Shadow Generations, I just think there's such a big difference. But I did cry maybe like twice. One at just enjoying the story of Sonic for once in a hot minute, with bringing back old characters that I never thought we'd see again. And then also just genuinely loving every aspect of it, and just realizing that, like I said, I do think there is a future for this franchise now, and I just am so excited for anything that happens. I'm almost just completely done having negative thoughts, and I think it also just helps because I think Sega really stepped up this year. I think Sega is definitively, there's no debate at all, they are the best publisher of the year. Every single game they have produced has literally sold 1 million copies within less than a week in total. They just are on a hot streak. They literally this year, in my opinion, did not miss. I don't think they really put out one game that is big in their catalog that I would say was not fun or not good. And even though I haven't played all of them, I've still heard amazing things about all of it. But it just hit me really hard yesterday, and it's something I just wanted to talk about because I love Sega. I think Sega has such a good roadmap and a good future. And I just hope other companies can kind of look at that success story, because I feel like Sega was never really struggling. I just don't think they were... they were never to this level. I feel like they had a period where they were just putting stuff out, and the things you'd expect to do good were doing good, but the things that, were struggling and not doing as great, I think it was a hit or miss on if they could deliver or not. But the fact that everything, in my opinion, from what I've seen from them, has delivered, I just really hope a lot of companies can take inspiration and look at that success story this year and apply it to themselves, because I feel like that's what a lot of other companies need. And I just want the best for everyone. I mean, I want game companies to succeed. I want players and consumers to have more fun, get better games. And it's really inspiring, I think, to see Sega do what they did this year. And I'm really excited to see what else they do, because they have so much more in the pipeline. And I honestly think all of them are going to slap. I have no doubt in my mind that every single one of them are going to be a great game, because they have yet to put out something this year, I feel, that has not hit the internet in a negative way or has not been that great. So
yeah. No, I mean I agree with you. Right now, the benchmark when it comes to third party companies, Sega and Capcom. Like if you don't know how to do it, just look at one of them too, because they're doing it. Like they're literally the top publishers every year now. They've just been killing it for really, I think, like the whole generation, honestly. Excluding the big three. I mean, Nintendo's obviously still killing it. PlayStation, they're questionable, but they still release good games when they do.
Yeah.
Xbox, they're trying.
I mean, Sony and Xbox.
Yeah.
I mean, my biggest thing about Xbox this year is just like, I just think still we're struggling to get releases. Like, I feel like it's still taken a long time to get these games, and a lot of it seems like it's finally come out in this last quarter, which. That's the thing I just think they need to work on is they need to work on because summer for them was dry. There was quite literally nothing.
Oh yeah. For
I mean,
the first quarter of the year was dry too.
Yeah.
The first Xbox game was Hellblade in May. Like, yeah, it's quite.
And then, but I would say overall, like, despite the idea of like them maybe not having like the most phenomenal year, I think it's okay because I think next year looks a lot better.
They actually have confirmed games for next year. Can you believe that? That's crazy. That's wild.
But yeah, I can only hope that by next year things like we can continue. And I feel like getting closer to the end of the year has just made me realize I think this year for gaming has been for video game releases has been really good. And I think despite the fact that we've had, of course, controversy and everything, I only hope that we can learn from it and companies can learn and start paying attention to the industry and how it works. And we can get back on track. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we've had that's happened this year. Of course, like, especially this month, we've had certain news of gaming studios that I thought got shut down, but more got moved. But sequels we may not be getting or so, and I have my personal opinions on stuff like that. I'm not really looking into it anymore with like the negative aspect. I think it's just I'm hoping these companies can understand how the industry works because I feel like nowadays where the industry is moving in such a certain way and it's not even about anymore. It's something I've realized that's kind of crazy is that this year there's been like a lot of negative things. There's been a lot of games that haven't hit as like hard as they should have. But I also feel like it's the issue of just not understanding the industry. Some of these companies I feel like could be on this larger scale like a Sega or a Capcom, but just don't understand the, industry and the audience. And it was kind of something I wanted to talk about because it's not particularly like I want to talk about all the negatives, but it's more of me just wanting to talk about what can happen to make things better. What can these companies or these studios do, or what can we do to fully, support these games that come out and to, possibly give them, the success to make these beloved games that we enjoy so much.
Right. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. But first, first I do want to. I wanted to touch on your Sonic statements, real quick. Even for somebody who literally just said that Sonic X Shadow is just not for me, and who does prefer the Sonic Frontiers format, even then, I don't consider myself a Sonic fan. I like Sonic. It's cool. I enjoy like watching its movies and trying out its games. I would not consider myself a Sonic fan. I completely agree with Austin. I think they should stick to this formula because at the end of the day, that is what's best for Sonic and its community. I think a big part of the conversation we're about to have is so many companies are trying to appeal to the wrong audiences. Whereas I think you put it exactly. Sonic has a future now because of this W. And I do think, even for somebody who said it's not for them, and I prefer the other ones, I can't help but not see this game as a W as well. Like, I do think this is a win for Sonic. I've seen a lot of praise online. It has sold over 1 million in its, like, first week. And so...
in 3 days.
Yeah, in its first 3 days. And
if you want to be real... if you want to be real, you could say it's first day because it's 3-day early access, but I'm not
True.
gonna say that because I think that's a little stupid. But
Yeah.
it's kind of true.
It is kind of true.
I'm gonna say
but
within its first 3 days.
But like also, I've seen like videos and like social media posts, which is kind of funny. Like it was something like fans not knowing how to react to the media praising Sonic games or something like that because like it's been so long or whatnot. But like that's telling you like, hey, you guys did something right here. And so yeah, I do have to applaud. Oh, I do have to applaud them for that. I just totally turned up my gain all the way. Sorry about that. But yeah, absolute huge W for Sega and Sonic for sure. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's talk about this thing you want to talk about. Let's dive deep. Let's go crazy. By the way, guys, we still have one more game coming out this month, and it's none other than Dragon Age.
Life is Strange.
Oh, that technically came out today, but
oh, did it?
Yeah. Well,
I thought it was like
New Zealand time wise, it came out today.
All right, buddy. Here we go.
Hey, New Zealand the GOAT for real though.
I will say, people on Twitter need to shut up, bro. Because
yeah, dude.
I don't know if it is like an actual valid thing where it's like you can abuse that system, but bro, all I could see is COD. Everyone was saying like New Zealand time. I'm like, bro, don't make them change that. Like that is such a goated feature.
No, I know what you mean because I was thinking that as well. But no, like they realistically can't do anything about that. However, I think there is a bigger issue where IGN started posting about it. Like IGN literally made an article like how you can play Call of Duty 6 early with New Zealand early access. There's literally like a regulation or restriction on like Microsoft's page saying media outlets cannot talk about like extorting like time zone or like early access things or something like that. So I if anything, IGN's just gonna get in trouble. But no, I don't think they can really do anything about people switching to New Zealand time. I think maybe the only thing they'd be able to do is like make you somehow verify you're in New Zealand. But I don't know how they would do that, and people would still find a way to override that. So it would. I don't really think they can do much about that.
Yeah, because that system's goated, man. Like that's the one thing I think buying on digital Xbox is better than PlayStation is that you can just do that and you just play basically a day early.
Yeah, for real. No, that's awesome. All right, but yeah, let's dive deep. Oh, well, yeah, no, but like I was saying, yeah, so I guess we have 2 more games releasing this year. Life is Strange, Double Exposure, and then we have Dragon Age, The Veilguard, which is my most anticipated game of the year. So I'm really much looking forward to that. I have 3 days off of work back to back to play this thing. I am ready to go. Have the collector's edition pre-ordered, ready to go. Just did a reaction video to the launch trailer. It's doing extremely well. We're ready to go. Low key, bro. That's how you know. That's how you know this game has grown on so many people. Because
getting the Silent Hill 2 treatment.
It is. It literally is. Because the last Dragon Age video I posted, here I'll show you. It had where is it? Yeah. It had a 23.4% dislike ratio, with 800 views, and it had 22 likes. Okay, pretty bad, right? This most recent one I did, it is at 550 views, with a 95% like ratio, with 66 likes. Huge turnaround, and all the comments in this video have been like. And I've been having back and forth with so many of them of like, yo, I just subscribed because I can't wait to watch you play this. I can't wait to see somebody who's never played the series before try it out. Or, oh man, like, I wonder what companions you'll like the most. Or have you played the Mass Effect game? People are actually doing what you should have been doing in the first place. But believe it or not. But yeah, it's just really good to see because, I mean, this is my most anticipated game of the year. And so yeah, I'm just super excited to get into it. I've already said so much about it. I really don't have much more to say about it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, do you have anything to say about Dragon Age before it comes out? Speak now or forever hold your peace until next time you're on here. Are you playing Dragon Age?
I should be, yeah. Like, I will. It's just, it's so hard. There's just so many things to play, dude. Because then right after that, my most anticipated game of the year comes out. So it's just hard. It's like, October, like the entire month to just November, like the first week for me, it's really hard to just find time. And it's like I really have to pick and choose what I want to play, which is why like certain games that came out this month, I'm moving to like December, where it's just gonna be like a Metaphor ReFantazio. It's something I'm gonna pick up in December and play. So we'll see how much I play. I probably will play it like day one because I'll go get it and everything. But if I change my mind at all, if I just don't think I'm really gonna have enough time or really want to do it at like off the rip, I may like cancel my pre-order and just wait just a tiny bit because it could be another game I pick up in December or like late November maybe. So we'll see. It just depends. It's just there's just so much stuff, so it's hard.
Cool. All right. Well, all right. Now we can go into this conversation we want to have. So let's get it. I'll let you take the wings, because I'm not exactly sure what kind of conversation you want to have. Like I heard what you said, but I kind of got confused what exactly you want to talk about. So
well, I just want to talk about because of this whole Sega thing, and there was a certain topic you had of you wanted to do an idea of stuff that we've learned from video games as a industry, as a media.
No. I was just talking as a consumer. I wasn't talking about.
Oh. But the main reason I wanted to talk is not really just to cover like all the negatives of everything. I just wanted to really think about, like what, like I said, what can this industry do? What can these companies do better to, secure more years that are like this? Because I think I'm going to come out and say it. I think this year I enjoy more than last year. And I think last year, I still think if I were to look at it from just an outside lens of no bias, I do think last year, I still think was the better year so far. I think it had a lot more heavy hitters, but I feel like in terms of quality is kind of where I give it to this year. I feel like this year for me, there's a lot more games that I've enjoyed personally. I've liked a lot more. And not to say last year, there wasn't. I just think there was a lot more heavy hitters that stand out. But I just feel like I end up liking this year more. And even despite the idea that we still had games that were flawed that may not have done very well. But I guess I just wanted to take this time to talk about, what can these companies do, and, can we expect to keep having more and more years like this to release so many good games? Because I know that's something a lot of people get a little afraid of and worry about. And I think there are certain examples to look at to learn and see that there is hope. And I think there's a lot to learn from that has not worked out. And, we should, look into, and companies should take a look at. Nobody's perfect, but at the same time, it's like,
Well, I got two.
well, yeah, I mean, I guess.
That's funny.
I mean, it's just obvious at this point. I mean, we all know it. John's basically said it. Like, we'll include Take-Two, but I think the top three is without a doubt it's Nintendo, Sega, and Capcom. I think those three have got a future secured, like, easily. And I do think there are other ones too, but I just think.
Oh wait, are we talking about like a future secured? Like what companies have like a for sure future, like successful future?
I don't want to fully say that because I still think Xbox and PlayStation have it. I just think their vision is not fully there.
Well, no, I agree. No, because I was gonna say, Take-Two is 100% in there if that's the case.
Yeah.
Literally, all they need is GTA 6 and it's over.
Yeah.
That's really all they need.
And then all they got to do is just a Red Dead 3, and then
literally all they have to do is just drop a Rockstar game every five years, and they're like one of the most successful companies in gaming. Like it's ridiculous, but yeah. No, go ahead and continue.
I guess I'll go ahead and tie into this. And like I said, I know this is something John hates. I know he doesn't like when I talk about the negatives of a lot of things. I've been trying really hard to not. But I think this more ties into the philosophy I've been thinking of. And like I said, this is all because of Sega. This is all because they're my second favorite publisher.
Hang on. Whoa. All right, let me just clarify real quick. Something real quick. I don't like negativity when we're talking about getting hyped for something. All right? If I'm talking about how much I'm looking forward to Dragon Age and somebody's like, oh, man, I don't know. I hope it does well because of the controversy. Man, I don't care about that crap. All right? I'm trying to talk about that gameplay. I'm talking about those characters and the sweet camera angles and stuff like that.
I gotta get one joke in there. Yeah, I'm trying to talk. I gotta get one joke in there. Yeah, I'm trying to talk about that DEI and how like you can't make the butt big enough. All right.
Yeah, stuff like that.
So
that's what I mean. But like, if we're having a conversation like this, that's fine. I mean, you have to bring up the negatives. So.
Yeah. But I've been trying to avoid stuff like that. Because of that one podcast that I genuinely think everyone was very annoyed at me for.
That's hilarious.
And I'm trying to secure a future on this podcast. I would like to show up on here.
Bro's trying to pull Sega like for real.
I feel like for a moment I was on the chopping block and just they were gonna be like, "Hey yo, like you need to shut up. Like you're annoying as all ever, and like we don't want you on here. You're just gonna like." And sometimes I just be going. I don't know. Sometimes I think my mind goes blank and I'm just like, oh, here we go.
All right. For everybody wondering what the heck we're talking about. So we had a podcast a couple of weeks back where it was four of us. It was me, Isaiah, Christian, and Austin. And we were basically just going over like every game coming out in 2025 or like upcoming games. And we're going over the state of play games. And we reached Assassin's Creed Shadows and I put up a disclaimer before any of us started talking about the game. I was like, I literally said, I was like, all right, and I'm just going to get it out the way. That way nobody brings it up because... No.
It was Ghost of Yotai. It was you were
like, no, it was Assassin's Creed Shadows.
It was not?
Assassin's
Creed
was Shadows.
Ghost of
Yotai. Yotai, I definitely said, like, I didn't care about the controversy, but, like, it was Assassin's Creed Shadows where I made that, like, disclaimer. Like, hey, I don't want to talk about controversy for any of these upcoming games or whatnot.
Yeah, I thought it was Ghost of Yotai because you were like, I don't care about any of the controversy. I immediately, as a joke, just went, women!
Yeah, no, but like, anyways, so I put it out there before anyone started talking. I'm like, and I don't care about the controversy. I don't want to talk about the controversy, so no one bring it up. I get it. It's annoying. I get it. There's a lot of issues with it. There is a conversation to be had there, but for this episode and for right now, we're just going to focus on the games. And Austin brought up a controversy for like 10 different games, that podcast. And like literally Isaiah messaged me afterwards. He's like, I found it hilarious how you said we're not gonna talk about controversy, and Austin brought up controversy like 10 times, and I was like, and at first, honestly, it's kind of funny because I'm the one who said that, and I didn't even realize he said it that. I definitely noticed he talked about it for Yotai and Assassin's Creed Shadows, but I didn't realize how many other times he brought it up. But I went back and watched it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he really did.
I probably talked about like Indiana Jones being like a PS5.
Yeah, yeah, you literally did. Yeah, you did. Oh man, it was just funny. I was like, wow, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so I got pretty terrified. I thought I was on the chopping block. I thought he hadn't asked me to be on in a minute because of that, and I was like, uh-oh.
I hadn't even done podcast in a minute.
It was, I know, and then you were on a trip. I'm like, okay, I think we're okay. You know, I think we're all good. So where am I going with this? So yeah, to go on about a piece of news that happened, which has made me really think, and it's frustrated me a lot because this isn't the first time we've heard something like this, but I think I just want to talk about it because I think it's a learning experience. I think it's a low of this year. I mean, we've had plenty of lows this year, but I think there's something to at least, learn from it. I want to talk about Ubisoft specifically, and also like an EA, because I have my thoughts on EA as well recently. I have looked at a lot of companies this year at their highs, their lows, and I think a lot of it, in my personal opinion, has not even come down to the idea of their games like not performing as well. I don't feel like the quality of their games is as bad as I would say. I think it's just quite simply the idea of not understanding the industry and the market anymore. And the reason I've gotten to this whole statement and this point that I stand on is just recently there was news that the Prince of Persia team, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, was originally what I had thought is they just basically got all laid off and were basically done and just and it made me really upset. I mean, I quite literally posted something to John in like all caps. I was I was mad. And like the Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown wasn't my favorite game of the year. I mean, it's a phenomenal game. It's very good. It's a 100% like A tier for me. It's not in my S tier catalog, but it is for sure like an A tier game. It's phenomenal, and I've seen a lot of people, talk about how they wish we could still get a sequel, how it's probably one of the better Metroidvanias they've ever played. And I think it sucks how something that can be so praised and liked by people can be not guaranteed a future because of decisions of companies. And that's why I kind of wanted to talk about this, because I want all these companies to have their year of a Sega. I want them to succeed. I want them to do good. But I think it's really hard whenever your company doesn't understand the industry. And I think for companies like Ubisoft, I think it's a prime example, because while I don't think their quality is as bad as what people say, I think it's the idea of, if you're going to make a Metroidvania and first off you don't put it on Steam day one and you also make it $60, which is not the industry standard for a Metroidvania in this day and age, I think it's really hard to sell people, especially on a franchise that has not been, active for such a long time, that is switching a genre entirely. I think it's hard to sell people on that, especially when you have a subscription service that takes away from the idea of getting those sales. I think it's just everything is not in the favor of that product. And Prince of Persia is not, The Lost Crown isn't getting a sequel because of its quality. It's because of the marketing and the overall structure and business perspective of how it went. I mean, I think a lot of games need to realize, if you're not going to release your game on Steam day one, I don't really think there's much of a reason to release it on PC, because we've seen it countless times and times. Final Fantasy 16. If that game would have released day one on PC, it would have had more than, I think its peak was 10,000 or 20,000 players. I mean, I talk about this because I just want to
Alan Wake
inform
2
everyone.
still on Epic Games
Yeah,
only.
yeah. Alan Wake 2, I think would have already, I think literally first month would have probably, broke even if it just would have released on Steam. And I do truly think if that game released on Steam, I don't even see the point anymore, because I think it will get you, maybe like probably 10,000 players, but we've seen it with so many games. Metaphor ReFantazio launched. It's a new IP by Atlas, which is a team that is well known, but so is Remedy. So they released, and they could get 60,000 in its all-time peak when it first released. And I think it's just crazy to look at some of these companies that are doing this. And especially with Square Enix too, like, I think these companies just need to understand how our industry works and to look at it more, smart, to really pay attention. And I think there can be a better future for stuff like this. And it pains me because I am glad at the end of the day, we are going to be getting, like other games from Ubisoft still, but it still upsets. Like, the studio is still intact, but it does kind of hurt to know we won't be getting a sequel. And I, I'm a little worried about Ubisoft future. I do hope they pull it back. I just think there's certain things they need to do. I think certain companies have decisions to make. I think Square Enix is on the right track of going that multi-platform. I have a very hot take I'm about to say. It is a take that I have thought about for a hot minute, but it is something I think I just genuinely believe in, and I think especially for something like Ubisoft and EA at this point, I personally would do it. I think EA is in a better spot than Ubisoft, but I think even they should. I think their subscription services should just die. I think for the idea of how they operate and what they are doing, I don't think that they can make those subscription services operate. And I think it's, with Xbox, there's a reason I say Game Pass has a better future than these other two. Well, Ubisoft is already, struggling with, their consistency and their sales and how it performs. On top of that, they're also putting it for $17-18 to play anything. So you're already losing out on a lot. And I think EA, in some ways, I just don't know if they can financially support that. Whereas Microsoft, they have unlimited money. I mean, they literally have unlimited money, to where it's really hard to worry about that. And I've just thought about it, and I just don't know if I can see a future for companies like that keep up that subscription service route. And I do think, once again, it's great for consumers, but I think at this point in time, I think it's just better to pull the plug and just start looking at how this industry works. Because subscription services are going to get worse over time. And if you're already financially struggling to, get sales and everything, I don't think a subscription service on top of it is going to really help you. I mean, if Star Wars Outlaws, being a prime example, only sold 1 million and that's not good enough for you, well, it didn't help that one of my options I could have done is literally paid $18, for 1 month specifically to just play it and then never touch it again. If it's going to cost you so much money to make, I feel like having that option, while it is great for the consumer, you have to look at yourself as a business and understand that it may not be the greatest option to do compared to other companies that can do it, such as PlayStation or Xbox. I mostly, like I said, I just wanted to talk about this because I want these companies to secure a better future. I want, them to release products that we can enjoy, make these years, more enjoyable, with, big games and very fun games. But like I said, I just think it comes down to understanding the industry, and I think I wanted to talk about it because I think I'm finally starting to understand a lot of how it's working and certain decisions that will do good and will not do. Because there's been a lot of things that people have been focused on this year that they've said haven't, may not be good. I mean, we focused a lot this year on DEI and everything, and I do think that's something to focus on how games like that don't perform well. But I've also realized this year is that there have been games that we have had not much hope for, and they have exceeded, all expectations, like a Silent Hill 2, and I think Dragon Age, I'm hoping, also can do that. But I just wanted to speak on this because it's something that's been on my mind. And I think it's just nice to understand where I think the future's headed, and I can only hope that we can move forward instead of go backwards. So.
I mean, yeah, I sorry, I had to do that weird transition there. No, okay, I definitely understand this kind of conversation now. There are some points I definitely agree with you on, and there's some points that I definitely want to, like number one, I want to like further talk about that, further explore that, further, go into that. But then number two, there are some things I do want to kind of not really disagree on, but I kind of want to combat that. Like I kind of want to rebuttal some of the stuff because I think, and again, that's why I said there's like two things. There's some things I want to further talk about, further go into because I agree on. Then there's some things I do kind of want to combat, not because of what you said was wrong, just because there are other things in the industry that have an effect on it. Like. First and foremost, I completely agree with you. The subscription service that EA and Ubisoft has, I really don't even understand, like, how do they make money? Spoiler alert, they don't. So.
Well, I'll tell you how EA makes their money from all their sports games.
Well, yeah, that's exactly how they do it. Okay, well, and then so. That's the next thing. Here's my first rebuttal here.
Mm-hmm.
And this leads to another section of the conversation I want to have. I don't think EA is in a bad position. They're just a bad company. Plain and simple as that. In terms of like their finances, in terms of like the projects they have, there's nothing struggling about them. Where that viewpoint comes from is because they make so many decisions that consumers just don't like. And that's just because they are way more of a business-centric company than the likes of Capcom are or the likes of Sega, right? And it comes down to what makes them money. That's really it. Like, and I had this thought in the freezer, yeah, in the freezer.
Oh, not the freezer.
Dude, I had this thought in the freezer today, actually. So it's kind of funny that you brought this up. We live in an industry right now, in a gaming world, where a franchise can either die or grow 10 times just off of one entry. Like, cause I was thinking today, I was thinking, man, Square Enix, man, I wonder if we'll ever get another Just Cause. Cause I don't know if Just Cause 4 was all that successful or whatnot. And I was like, no. I don't think we did. And even if we did, it would literally be like so make it or break it, to the point where I don't even think it would do well, because it'd be like bottom of the barrel scrap at that point, right? And I was like, and the sad truth is, we could leave it, end it at 4. It was a good ending. Or we could try 5 and see if it does well, But if it flops, that's it. Just Cause is literally dead for forever. But then I thought,
Well,
on the flip side, isn't it so crazy that there's that kind of thought? But let's say Just Cause 5 comes out and sells like 10 million first week. Then they're going to start making spin-offs. They're going to start making sequels. They're going to start making TV shows. It's crazy how just sales can impact a franchise, impact a company. Like it's unreal how differently narratives can change just based off of sales. And I think that's where the negative viewpoint of EA comes from. Because because Dead Space didn't sell hotcakes, they're not going to make another Dead Space. That's not because they are struggling. That's because they're just a bad company and they don't know how to please their audience.
well, I think what is also like,
because on the
weird
flip
about
side,
it-
let's look at Respawn. Every game they've put out has sold remarkably well, and now they have like 3 and 4 games in development. So it really has nothing to do with EA doesn't know how to make games or they don't know how to manage. They just don't know how to make consumers happy because they make really bad decisions. But I think Ubisoft for sure. Ubisoft is struggling. That's a for sure.
I think the more reason I also named EA is not because I think they're in a spot like I just think they have the same thing of Ubisoft where they're struggling to please consumers.
They have the same thing of Ubisoft where they have a meme identity. Whereas like, oh, that's an EA game for you, you know, like they have that, and that's unfortunately due to how many bad things have happened in their past. Yeah. Which I think is really unfortunate. So because for me, I look at EA and I genuinely really like EA. Like I love a lot of games EA puts out. I mean, we could look at the Star Wars games. Those are great. We could look at Dead Space. They're great. We could look at Dragon Age. That looks great. And yeah, honestly, to even combat that of EA's not struggling, I've seen more advertisement for Dragon Age than I have like any other game this year almost. Like Dragon Age is getting a lot of marketing, which is a good sign.
But who's to say if this doesn't do well? Bye Dragon Age. It was nice knowing.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. If this flops,
that's what I hate.
I think Bioware's gone. But again,
that's what I hate, man.
Yeah, you know? and unfortunately, that just comes down to sales. Like literally, because if Dragon Age comes out and it does Baldur's Gate numbers, BioWare is going to instantly start working on multiple games. There's going to be a TV show adaptation of Dragon Age. There's going to be podcasts and comic books coming out left and right. Like it literally all that really matters for a franchise's success is its sales. I think when it comes to development and studios, that's where a company comes into play. In Ubisoft case, that is what's happening. Is the games are there, they just don't know how to necessarily manage at the current moment,
especially with money.
Yes.
And I still stand on that statement. I think we'd still be getting Dead Space if they just lowered the budget. If Wukong only had a $40 million budget and it's as big as it was, and it sold that much, I really can't see how you'd need over, I don't know how much it did, but let's assume it's 150 million. Let's say, I'm sorry, but like Wukong with 40 million, look at how good that is, you know. It's not the main company I wanted to like focus on. Like there are other companies too, like Square Enix and stuff, but I just want to point out what I think they could do better to secure, you know, better releases and to make these years, you know, filled with great game releases. Because I think it is scary to think about some of these companies, especially like a Ubisoft, because like I said, I don't think Ubisoft has put out the worst games ever. I just think they're not doing what they need to do. They need to look at what the audience wants, to stop looking at a specific, you know, broad term and try to push like a message out. Just make a good game, make a fun game. And I mean, that's all it comes down to. And I think it's also, you know, marketing. How much budget should we put into this? You know, like, I think it's really scary nowadays to put so much money into a game, and we've seen it constantly. And I think that is something I've realized with these big companies is they are succeeding because they're not putting all the attention into other things that don't matter. I think Capcom is one of the only exceptions of companies that put a lot of money into their games, but the quality is so fantastic they end up making everything back anyways. But I just feel like at the rate that some of these companies are at, like an EA, I do think if they would have, you know, realized on, you know, something like Dead Space, and it's just upset me because I do think that is a huge franchise for them that belongs on their roster, that should be a thing.
So
But to know that, you know, it's not, because I think of two genuine issues. I think the budget was too high from what it sounds like. If 3.5 million is not enough, I think the budget should have come down. And I think you can look at it from, you know, other games
whoa,
that don't
what?
have as
Three
big of a
point five
budget.
what? 3.5 what
3.5 million units sold.
for Dead Space?
That was the last time I heard its units sold.
Okay, that actually checks out because, and yeah, the point you're making here is absolutely correct. Then, because from what I'm reading, the budget was rumored to be 160 million, and they were, their expectations was they wanted 5 million copies sold, and so if they got 3.5, and obviously they didn't greenlit a second one, there it is. So, yeah. But again, that's not really due to EA doesn't know how to make games. That's just they're just a bad company.
Not understanding
really
the
is.
industry, and
Yeah.
you know, like, and that's what I'm saying is like, why I wanted to talk about it is just because, like I said, I want these companies to have their Sega moment. I want them to understand how this industry works and what they can do. And I do genuinely believe in this high budget. I think I'm getting really tired of going over it, but I do think it's one of the biggest problems we have is companies are overusing budgets that we should not be using. If we just scale it back, I think it'll be a lot better. Like, I really don't think we need all these games that are pushing $150 million. I really don't. And yes, technology works differently. I understand. Like, technology in certain areas is going to be cheaper. I'm sorry, dude, but if, like, a great example, Spider-Man 2. $300 million, there's no exception. There's no exception to me. I think even if you push 200 million is the max. I think that's the farthest you should go. If you're hitting 300, you're wasting money. Like, there's just no other point in it. You can't change my mind. I just think you're wasting money at that point. But it's just sad because I do look at these franchises and I see how good they are and how much potential they could have, but to see them fall short because of business decisions, especially after the Baldur's Gate 3 director kind of just came out and talked about Prince of Persia not having a future because of the, you know, business side of Ubisoft and what they do, compared to the quality, which is not the reason why we're not getting a sequel. It's not because of the quality, it's because of the business decisions and, you know, of upper management of Ubisoft. But I just want these companies to be at their best. I want them to understand, you know, how this industry works.
Yeah.
But I just think it's sad because there's potential, you know, to see amazing things, and then even if we get amazing things, it's not guaranteed a future. And I feel like as a consumer, I've started to see like why we've hit these low points and why these things are happening. But I just want these companies to look and try to understand why it may not be working. And I'm still gonna go ahead and say, like, if you haven't played Dead Space Remake, like, I have yet to finish it, but I do think anyone should go and play it, regardless of if there's gonna be like a remake to like 2 or 3, which we're probably not getting, which is really unfortunate. But please go and play it because it is a phenomenal game. It's not my favorite horror game that I've played so far, but I do think it's phenomenal. It is a fantastic game that deserves a lot of praise and deserves to have more than just one remake. But it's just something I wanted to talk about. Just about a lot of companies, because I mean, we can learn from even PlayStation this year. PlayStation has the most. I like to describe Sony's year as a seesaw. It is the definition of one person is on the other side, one's on the other, and it just keeps going up and down, up and down, up and down. And it's like, how can we, what can they do to understand, how can we stop flip-flopping between good and bad and losing the trust of, gamers and everything? And I think it just comes down to business and understanding the market. It's just something, like I said, I wanted to talk about because it's been on my mind. We don't have to be on it too much longer, but I think I've mostly gotten most of my points across, really.
Yeah, I think, well, okay, the PlayStation side of things, like the PlayStation argument, that one's a tricky one because, I mean, I'm sure you've seen on Twitter, like, and it kind of is a good point. A lot of the current Game of the Year contenders are, like, PlayStation exclusives. Like, a lot of them are. Whether they're timed or whatnot, or, like, third-party exclusives, they are exclusives. And then, of course, you have Astrobot. But, like, I don't... This goes back to conversations that... This goes back to conversations we've had in the past where, unfortunately, social media is just awful in gaming. Like it just is, because if you just took somebody who just plays PlayStation games, who doesn't have Twitter, doesn't have Instagram, they're probably doing just fine. There probably is none of that up and down. It's just another year for PlayStation. The problem is there's console wars and there's social media, and in our eyes, it looks like a continuous up and down thing. But I will say, the live service approach is easily their biggest flaw right now.
Who would have guessed?
Yeah, I know, right? But another thing I will say is this conversation, or really anybody's conversation, not just ours, talking about being upset for things closing down or things not necessarily doing well, and then they're the ones who I hate to say it, Austin. This might kind of be connected to you in a way.
Mm-hmm.
People who don't actually buy the game. It doesn't really help this conversation.
Yeah.
Like that goes back to what I said. Everything really depends on the sales of a game. That's really all it matters. Like, Sega could, even though they've had such an amazing year, right, with all these games that have cracked over 1 million copies sold in its like first week or whatnot, if they release the game tomorrow and it dropped 10 million units in its first week, guess what? A big part of their resources is gonna go to, how do we further this game? How do we create adaptations? How do we capitalize off of this the best? And so it really just comes down to the sales of a game. And for people who complain about something not doing well or something getting shut down, and then they're ones who didn't buy the game to begin with, that kind of is part of the problem as well.
Well, yeah, but there's also something called setting realistic expectations.
True. That is true. But
Unlike a Square Enix that expects all of their Final Fantasies to sell 10 million on one platform.
yes, that is true. Expectations are correct. But also, you then have to balance, okay, well, how low can we set expectations to the point where it's not going to meet consumers' expectations? You know what I mean? Like, if almost like Silent Hill 2 in a way, for a lot of us were not on board with it because we thought it just was looking worse. It looked like it had a lower budget than the Resident Evils. It just did not look up to par with what we've seen from other survival horror games, and therefore there was a lot of concern and a lot of down negativity on it. And that kind of has to go to a business expectations trying to balance with a consumer's expectations, because I do completely agree with you. Budgets are insanely too high. Like, there is no doubt. There's really no debate. Budget should not be this high. 160 million on Dead Space, if that's true, that doesn't even make sense. Like, where did all that money go? Like, Dead Space looks awesome, but like, considering Black Myth Wukong was only like $45 million. Like, where did all
Unreal
that
Engine 5.
where did all that Dead Space money go? Like I really don't understand. But at the same time, it's just financials and sales and just all the business side of things just sucks. Like, that's really all. I mean, that's really just the bottom line. Like, it all just sucks, and it sucks even more when there's companies who don't know how to work with that, who don't know how to manage that to be successful. And one thing, like, for me at least, is like, I think, number one, exclusives. I don't really care what anyone says. I also get your argument. It's like, and again, I wouldn't want it to happen. Like, I prefer platforms to have exclusives. I think it's cool. I think it adds a whole new layer to consumers that some find enjoyable. But I do think next generation will probably be the last generation, if even. Like, it'll probably stop halfway through the generation. Exclusives are not going to be a thing in the future, outside of Nintendo. Nintendo will be the only console to have exclusives.
Well, yeah, but it's mostly just because they've built a brand for it.
Yes.
But I do truly believe we won't go down that route if these companies can push back these budgets. I really think that is the number one problem, because Xbox is doing it, and the more and more I look at this stuff, I think exclusives are more important than people really think they are. I'm one of those people
100%.
I'm one of those people that I'm starting to fight for exclusives, especially first party, because I think if you want to sell a console, you have to have exclusives. I think if you have no exclusives, I honestly think there's no point in buying your console. I'm sorry. I know that's like hard to say, but it is harder to sell someone on it. And I will say I didn't buy an Xbox for that main purpose.
But that's also the thing is, if I'm Xbox, I could also say the same thing. There's no reason for them to buy an Xbox, because we're not making any money off of hardware. We make it all off of software.
They could, if they did it business-wise, they did it strategically better, and they knew what they were doing, because they don't know what they're doing. Nintendo knows what they are doing on the business aspect.
Okay.
Selling consoles.
No, listen. So if I went to GameStop right now and I bought an Xbox Series X, Microsoft would make no profit off of it.
Yeah.
Because to build the Xbox Series X, it costs more than they sell it for.
Then that's a business problem that they have to fix.
Right.
It
And
is
so
literally,
if they
know?
if they then make the system cheaper, no one's gonna buy it. Period. Because that's not a consumer's expectation.
What do you wait?
So you're telling me if they announce their next generation and it's weaker than the Series X?
No, I'm not. I'm not saying like weaker. I'm just saying like
Because that's the only way it gets cheaper is if it gets weaker. That's the
I
only
don't
way.
think the price or anything is what's wrong with the Xbox and why nobody's buying it. I don't think that's the issue at all. Because then why is the PS5 outselling? Because they have more games, exclusives.
No. That's not what I'm saying. It's you're that is why exclusive. Okay, you said you said as a consumer, why would I want to buy an Xbox if I could just buy the game on PlayStation or PC? That's the same thing from a business perspective. If I'm Xbox, why would I make them buy an Xbox if we could just still get their money from somewhere else? That's the exact parallel. It's just consumer and business.
I understand that.
And I trust me, it sucks. I know, because I wish.
Well, no,
because
because you want to know what I think. I think it's a sellout thing to do, and I think you don't care about your consumers anymore.
Of course they don't.
And that's the
they never have.
And that's the thing. I know, John, but I don't want the console market to die. And I think a lot of people have been assuming consoles are gonna die.
Oh yeah, they are.
And I don't
100%.
And I don't. They shouldn't though. We shouldn't have to think about it. But I think it's literally, if you just looked at the industry and did it smart, there's no because in my opinion, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I think if Xbox went full multiplat, I think they would die quicker than if they just tried to continue making good consoles.
Absolutely not.
Because I think they'd lose their fan base quicker than they would ever imagine.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about that.
That's a hot take I have.
I don't know about that one. Hey, I'll say this. I appreciate you being an optimist here. But
I do.
But
I mean, I wanna believe in a future that I think is the best, and I think companies going multi-plat, I'd hate it. It would make me hate gaming. Like, imagine Nintendo is like, we're putting all our games on other consoles. What is the point of buying a console? Really, there's literally no point. Absolutely no point at all.
Do you like PC?
No.
Well, there's your reason.
Like, I probably would have to move to a PC then, and it's just like, fantastic, you know.
Awesome. I get what you're saying.
I don't even know how we got to this. How did we get to this?
Well, I don't even know. I get what you're saying 100%. But the truth of the matter is,
I will agree with you.
Like,
you are right. Like, yes, it's easier to sell, but I can't. I don't care if it does you better. Do it the way. I know they won't.
It's really hard to say.
I know they won't put consumers first, but I would respect you so much more if you just did what was right. Because in my head, what is right is you should stick to the philosophy of how video games have been created. You have your console, you have your exclusives, you have some games that go to other platforms. But the reason you buy a console, I'ma just say it, I don't care. You can flame me for whatever. PCs are mid. They are literally mid. $3,000 for games that come out from other companies that still don't run well. PCs are mid. Capital M, capital I, capital D. If you buy a $3,000 PC, congratulations. You're still not going to get a game that's going to run the absolute best. Oh, but I can spend $500-$600 on a console that might do me just as good or even better. Oh, wow. Who would have guessed? It's like consoles should exist over PCs. I literally will stand on this argument. I'd rather PCs die than have consoles die. And I stand on that. I stand on business with it. I don't care. I stand on business. And I get it. Yeah, if PCs die and Steam, that basically means Steam dies. Games struggle to, actually do things. But I think this is why I care so much, because this year has taught me something, that we can still have phenomenal games despite a budget. And I really do believe the biggest problem is a budget. I think that is the number one problem. Why is Nintendo doing good? Low budgets, phenomenal games. Why is Sega doing good? Decent budgets on their games that aren't very high, still performing well. Capcom is one of the only exceptions I would give you that is performing with high budgets but is still performing well in every capacity. Not everyone is going to be able to do that anymore. Not everyone has the credibility or the reputation right now of pulling that off. It's just frustrating.
PlayStation does if it was just single player stuff, but because their live service.
Well,
stuff,
their first party lineup, they can make a $200 million game and they'll get it all back, more than likely. They have the reputation of selling 10 million on most of their first party stuff. But I just care so much, because it's like, I just want the best for everything. And I think it's finally getting to me to the point where I just want to be optimistic instead of being negative about everything. And I want to believe there's still hope for a lot of this stuff. I want to believe there's hope for 10 more years of exclusives and consoles. Because I think consoles are amazing. I really do think consoles, they shouldn't die. They just shouldn't. Yeah. In any capacity. I really don't think they should. Well, and I think it just comes down to managing money right, doing the right things. I think there's ways to go around it better than what we are. I just don't think they're being optimized correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Like, a prime example. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
I'm really sorry.
We do have to end this here really soon.
Another prime example. Xbox Series S. I get it's cheaper. I understand all that. But if it's going to be so controversial and it's going to make us lose out on games quicker, it's not going to come out as quickly, why are they still making a Series S? I get it's cheaper. I get it's more affordable. But why are we wasting money on a product that's just putting the business in a worse spot, reputation-wise? And I like the Series S. I think it's cool. But I'd rather them put all their money and resources towards one system. Like, if the Series X is going to cost more than the S, why couldn't all that money from the S be going to something else? Whereas a Switch can do that. A Switch can make a Switch and then an OLED, because that's not much of a difference. I just feel like
it's once again comes back to what's going to be able to sell the most amount of software. Right? If there's a lower entry barrier, like, in order to play Game Pass, you have to buy a $500 console. Yeah. But what if we lowered that barrier of entry to $300? That would open up a lot more people to then be able to subscribe to Game Pass, which will then up their software stuff. Like, it just comes out of that. But no, so we were gonna have to end this. But I will end it on. I completely agree with you. Budgets needed to go down, and I think from what you said and everything, like, you just wish everybody can just change. We need to they just need to start making the right decisions. Unfortunately, companies aren't going to do that. What's going to happen, and which is why us as consumers need to do our part, is when there are successes, when Black Myth Wukong has the success it has with a $45 million budget, we need to make that apparent, and we need to celebrate that as like a triumph, right? When Sega has the year that it just had, we need to celebrate that as a triumph, because what happens? Fortnite came out, everybody copied them. Call of Duty is the biggest thing in gaming. People are trying to copy that. When things have success, other companies try to copy that. If we make that abundantly clear, if we try to put as much attention on successes in the game industry as possible, others will follow. That's kind of just how life works.
Yeah.
If literally Sega could drop a new game that's a completely new genre we've never seen before, and it sells 5 million copies, and it has like some really good legs, and it keeps on selling, other companies are then going to start doing that. Like it really is not a thing, because unfortunately what's not going to happen, which I feel like would be the solution to your problems, it's just literally impossible. Every company would have to get into one big round table and talk this all out, like be like, yo, we need to lower all our budgets, because that's just not going to happen. Because all it's going to take is one company to have one big game with a $300 million budget, and it sells 20 million copies like Spider-Man 2, and everyone's going to be like, yep, that's the benchmark, there it is. And it's just not going to happen. But this is where your point, where we like to look at things a little bit optimistically. When Sega has these successes, when Capcom has these successes, when Black Myth Wukong has these successes, those are the things we should try to bring attention about, right? Because those are things that are going to make changes in the future. But
I think they're going to last.
yes, they are, for sure. But that is all the time we have for today. So thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, definitely leave a like, leave a comment in the section number provided. Please subscribe. A lot of things happening on the channel. Thank you, Austin, for joining me.
No problem, man. I don't know. A lot of that stuff's been on my mind.
It's all good.
I just hope these companies, like I said, just hopefully, I'm hoping next year they can deliver a better year than this year. Yeah. And I already think it is looking to be like that, but
yeah,
I want it to be even better.
We'll see.
So.
Only time will tell. But thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Johnny Moore out. Peace.
Peace. Bro, have your dogs been outside the entire time? Oh, you're still going.